And then I have a 4th grader, Johnny, and an almost 2-year-old little girl, so it's a lot of fun. And I actually grew up in Washington State, and then I moved here and I went to college in Ankeny. Did you guys know there's a college in Ankeny other than DMAC? There is a college called Faith Baptist Bible College. So it's not too far from here, and I went there for college. And then while I was in college, I started working at a business called Walnut Street Gallery in Uptown Ankeny. And really enjoyed working there. And what we do there is picture framing. Have you guys ever, has your mom ever had something framed? Yeah? Or have you guys ever been to Walnut Street Gallery for any of the events that we have in Uptown? Yeah. Oh, I bet. Do you go to Nicole's? Okay, very good. Well, that's a fun spot. Hey, bud, my name's Jen Walter, and I have 2 jobs, actually. I own Walnut Street Gallery in Uptown Ankeny, and I also work at First National Bank. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about both. I'm kind of crazy. Who wants to have 2 jobs, right? So I started working at the gallery when I was in college, and right after I got married. And then in 2007, we actually bought the business. I really liked framing, and I really liked working with the customers and new business. And so when my friend decided he was going to sell it, I decided I'm going to buy the business. Now, I did not go to school. I did not go to college for business. And here, out of the blue, I ended up owning a business. So a lot of times we don't end up doing what we think that we're going to go to college for. And now, I for sure never thought in the whole wide world that I would be a banker too. So, and what do you guys think that least, let's see, what class was I not the best in high school and college? Just any guesses? Yes?
Math.
Math, you are so right. Here's a piece of cake. So, I was not that great at math, but it was important that I still learn some things, even though it wasn't my very favorite subject. In fact, it's really funny, my math teacher from college came into the bank the other day, and he's like, "You're in banking now? Who would have ever guessed?" And so he was going to tell all his college students, even though you think that you don't need math, you might need it someday. And owning a business, I had to do math all the time in calculating what people's receipts are, and then I had to do all kinds of paperwork for taxes and things. So there's a lot of different aspects that come into the different jobs you might have that you don't even think about. So, I worked at the gallery. I owned it for 7 years. I still actually own it, and I'm in the process of trying to sell the business. So if any of your parents think that they want to own a business, it's a really fun one to have. I get to frame all kinds of things. Why don't you guys guess some of the cool things that I might have framed in the past? Any ideas what I might have framed? Yes. Definitely pictures. That's the first thing that everyone would think of. Any other things? Yes?
Maybe like a butterfly?
A butterfly. You know, I actually have framed some butterflies before for people, so that's a very good guess. Hi, how are you doing? I think is it Ross?
Yeah.
Yep. I recognize you. I'm Jen. Thanks for coming over today. So I'm talking to you and your friends. I have 2 jobs, which I told them was kind of crazy, but I own Walnut Street Gallery in Uptown Ankeny, and I also work at First National Bank. Does anybody know where First National Bank is? Yes.
Is the one by Walgreens?
It's pretty close to Walgreens. It's actually, this time you get a pen. It's actually right across from what is now Northview Middle School, or the Y. It's kind of a really big, tall, funky looking
Oh yeah,
building.
I've seen it by
Yep.
the orthodontist.
Yes,
Kinda.
you're right. Very good. You guys are probably all starting to go to the orthodontist. I think that's it. I had braces and headgear myself, so I'm glad you don't have that.
Not
You do?
yet.
I know, it's not very fun, is it? It hurts. Hi, Dad, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Okay, so, I did not go to school for business, and I ended up owning a business, and I did not go to school for banking, but I also ended up in banking. Each job that you have and each opportunity in life really helps you to grow personally and professionally. So some of the things that you guys are doing now can help you with your career someday. I don't know if you girls are starting to babysit yet, or if you guys are doing any odd jobs and trying to earn money around the house. All the different things you have, all the different opportunities at school here will help you become who you're going to be someday. And in most of the jobs that we have, they all tie together, and the most important thing is customer service and really taking care of people and their needs. And that's what I have enjoyed the most. At the gallery, I always enjoyed doing something that made people feel really good. Maybe they had gone to college and wanted to frame their diploma, or they had some special thing from a sporting event. I framed something for a guy that did a triathlon, an Ironman triathlon, so he was really proud of that. And so we framed up all of the memorabilia from that. And that made that person feel really special when I took extreme care of their things and built a relationship for them and did something special for them. In fact, I even framed some of Mrs. Egley's.
All three of my kids' college graduation pictures
Yes.
are hanging in my house. So.
Very cool. Really fun to build relationships with people and take care of their needs. And it was through the opportunities and building relationships at Walnut Street Gallery, and I became really involved in the Ankeny community. Have any of you guys ever heard of the Ankeny Chamber of Commerce?
I've heard of it. But
Heard of it? Do you guys know what's a Chamber of Commerce do? You know what that does? It actually is an organization that really works to help small businesses and businesses be able to meet other people, to be able to direct new people to town, to businesses they might need, and to help small businesses be able to grow and learn about the things so that they can be successful. So I got very involved in the Ankeny Chamber of Commerce and continued to make more friends. And this year I am actually the chamber president in Ankeny. And there are 866 members. There are a lot of businesses in Ankeny. Ankeny is growing a lot. So there's 866 other members that are kind of like a big family that we have in Ankeny. And that's really helped me at the gallery to meet new people, to get out. And a lot of business is building relationships and getting to know people. Because then when they think, boy, I have something I need to frame, where should I go? Oh, I should go to Walnut Street Gallery. I just talked to Jen the other day. Well, through that, I started to meet people, and somebody came to me a couple of years ago and said, hey, we heard about this position at First National Bank, and it would really fit you because it's all about people. So I am now what they call a private banking officer, which sounds kind of weird, like what is a private banking officer? But what I do is I help people that have a lot of money in deposits at the bank, or maybe make a little bit higher income. And I am what they call a concierge banker. So if they have something they need, they come to me. Because you guys don't have to make a lot of phone calls yet, but if you call and call and call people, it gets really annoying when you don't get to talk to a real person. Just wait someday. But but people can call and contact me, and I can take care of whatever they need. Plus, we get to do some really fun things in my job at the bank, like take people on trips. They're taking a trip to Ireland this year, which I'm not going on, but that sounds really fun. And so sometimes a job might look entirely different than what you think a job is. Most of you, when you think of a banker, what do you think of? Deposit your money, yes, and that would be a teller at the bank. And they do, exactly what you said, deposits and handle the money every day. And there's all different types of positions at the bank. There's people that open accounts for you. There's the bank president. And then there's people like myself that are in private banking, and it's more about the relationships. So if it weren't for my experience in helping people at Walnut Street Gallery in customer service, and sometimes doing some really difficult things and trying to put aside, maybe what was easiest for me for what's best for the customer. And I had to learn those things in owning a business to help me in the position that I now have at the bank. So there's a lot of different things about owning a business, and there's different things about working for a company. When you own a business, it's like, hey, you think you can just kind of take a vacation or go wherever you want or set your schedule. And there are some benefits to that. You can take a break if you need to. You can put a sign on the door. But if you take time away from your business, then there's no one there to operate it and bring in the money, right? So there's some great flexibility in owning a business. My kids came to the gallery on Saturdays, and they still come there and hang out with us and help around the gallery. So that's fun for them, but at the same time, they might like having mom home on Saturdays and things too. So there's benefits for working at a bank or a daytime job. So those are some of the differences. Now I have to answer to a boss. I'm not my own boss anymore. So there's some fun things, but I always considered it in owning a business that even though I didn't have a boss over me, my customers were my boss. So pleasing them, they asked me to do something for them, and I had to provide the right service. So really, I feel like my customers were my boss, and they were the ones that said, yes, you did a good job on this. So that is one kind of interesting perspective to owning a business. Let's see what time it is. Okay. Let's see. A lot of what I do now at the bank is helping people with financial education too, to learn about the different ways that they can handle their money. And there's a lot of different aspects to banking that I get to do. What questions do you guys have about either of the jobs that I have had? Yes? At the Walnut Street? Well, there was always myself as a full-time worker before, and then I usually had 2 or 3. I think I have 3 employees other than myself right now at Walnut Street Gallery. Most of those people just work part-time, so maybe one person works half of the day and the other person works the other half of the day. Yes?
The people that work there, are they like friends or do you...
Oftentimes they have been friends of mine. I think one time I posted a job listing on Craigslist, and I found a really good employee that worked for me for a year or so at that time. A lot of times I've hired college students, or a lot of times college students, or maybe ladies that are in their 50s that want to have a part-time job but don't want to work full-time. But right now I have my nephew is here from Colorado in college, and he works at the gallery in the afternoons. So it's a nice part-time job in the afternoons that fits around his schedule. And he does all the exciting things around the gallery, like take out the trash and vacuum. But he helps customers as well. And when you own a business, you have to be able to do a variety of tasks. At the gallery, I might be making a frame, or I might be working with a customer and designing a project, but I'm also the one that has to do the financial book work and keep all of my records. So there, yes?
Do you have to be good at drawing to be in the gallery?
Good at drawing? I don't have to be good at drawing, although I do have to draw little pictures of the layout of some of the things that I do. Do you have a question, Ron?
No.
No? What other questions do you have about owning your own business?
Maybe you address this, how did you get started?
I
Like, what
think-
is your startup? Like, all the thinking that goes into it before you even open the doors.
Right.
Kind of.
Right. Well, lucky for me, the gallery had been there for 32 years, has been in Ankeny for 32 years. It's not very far from here. It's just a couple of blocks over in Uptown Ankeny, kind of close to maybe Leaning Tower Pizza. I'll be right answer in just a second. But the gallery had already been there, so I felt really lucky that I already knew some customers and had been